In the 1960s, Buffy St. Marie forefronted Aboriginal activism and brought it to an international level. Her career has always reflected her own life and that of Aboriginal peoples, and has always caused a stir in her wake.
Folk singers weren't supposed to do that, let alone women folk singers, let alone Indian women folk singers. They're not supposed to do any of that, right?
Singer, songwriter, painter, artist, teacher, and mother, Buffy St. Marie continues to break boundaries. She went on to write an Oscar-winning song for the title track, An Officer and a Gentleman.
And Universal Soldier, after Lodi's many years, was inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame.
He's 5'2" and he's 6 feet 4. He fights with missiles and
her recent release, Running for the Drum, is proof that she's not run out of steam yet.
I'm not the kind of writer who does it for work. I'm just not a 9-to-5er. I never have been. I'm the same as I was when I was in kindergarten, just hearing songs in my head. And when I have a bunch of them that go good together and I'm crazy about them myself, that's when I put out an album. It's reflective of the whole world, and it's also very specifically reflective of stuff that happens to Aboriginal people at home.
She seems to be unintimidated by exploring a variety of areas in the musical realm that are not the typical prescribed, write your song, do an album, do a tour. She's tried her hands on different levels of all of that. The life she's lived and the songs she's written will speak volumes.
There's one song called No No Keshagesh. And Keshagesh is a Cree word that means basically greedy guts. So for me it's a metaphor about environmental greed. Talk about your beautiful for spacious skies. It's about uranium. It's about the water rights. Got Mother Nature on a luncheon plate. They carve her up and call it real estate. There's something cooking in the lights below. Somebody's trying to save our Mother Earth. I'm going to help them to save it and sing it and say it. Saying, no, Keshagesh, you can't do that no more. As a person who travels a lot, I would say I've seen Aboriginal people in Canada come forward in just every field. The Aboriginal voice to me is not only a speaking voice or the sound of a singing voice, it is those things, but it's also how individual people from Aboriginal experience perceive the world and reflect it back.
I find a hunger for knowledge about good works. I hope you can get beyond our pretty costumes, our colorfulness, our feathers, our paint, and see what it is that we have to offer.
In the 1970s, St. Marie was blacklisted by the American government and ultimately put out of business in North America. The American Indian movement and its members topped the American government's list of what deserved to be suppressed. It was in this era of government that birthed controversy and allegations over American Indian lives that were left in brutal mystery. Names like Annie Mae, Leonard Peltier, John Trudell, and Buffy St. Marie.
One time, Annie Mae and I were both ducking bullets in Gresham, Wisconsin, when the Menominees were going through that thing with that mission. And we were hanging around with a guy named Doug Durham, who turned out to be a plant for the FBI. We didn't know that. So I had no idea that I was being blacklisted. I had no idea that Lyndon Johnson, FBI, was following me around. The Johnson administration was using White House stationery to send out letters to broadcasting stations in the U.S. and Canada, commending them for having suppressed my music, which they said deserved to be suppressed. I had no idea. Didn't know anything about it for maybe 12 to 15 years after the fact.
Things changed, but they didn't change internally for me. I continued to record better and better songs and production-wise, I think. You just didn't hear it in the States.
I think we all learned to be careful, but it didn't change our points of view, and it didn't in any way affect our courage to stand up and offer our snapshots of Aboriginal life to other people. John Trudell said one thing that I've remembered. You know, he's just a hero to me. He said, there are certain people in this world who don't want Indians or anybody else interfering with their complete control of all available lands and natural resources. And that's kind of Indian 101 for me.
The white political male population in the United States, you know, were so sure of what kind of reaction you were supposed to have or know or think of, or, you know, they were so sure of that when anybody popped out like that, they were absolutely afraid of them. And Buffy was amongst the people that they went like, oh no. I mean, here is these people, big bad guys in the world, that are afraid of a woman with a guitar. You know, afraid of, you know, somebody that's going to say something that's going to make these people stand up and be more responsible for themselves.
And her songs were intelligent, well-crafted, you know, and she was a stunning performer.
For a person to keep their own culture, not only here, but here, you have to really honor that person.
It's like washing yourself,
Yeah.
washing your...
Thank you, everybody. Merci beaucoup.
I put her among top 5 female artists in North America.
You have to break through. It isn't like they got the door wide open and saying, hey, all you Indians, come on in. It isn't like that in the real world, you know. So this girl had to stand up and, you know, and break through barriers. And I'm very proud that she's done it.
It's been a long, long time. But you don't forget people like Buffy.
It's just a natural for me to gravitate to many different ways of life. It shows up in my songs, it shows up in my paintings, it shows up in the way I write curriculum. I think part of it, saying positive, is a positive intent. And that sounds kind of formal and a big word, but it's not really. It's really having the courage to admit how much you want to have a great time. There are a lot of options in life. There are not just 2 or 3 or 4. There are thousands and thousands of options every day.